What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today is my top 5 favorite tools that I recommend for you to start working on your car. Let's go ahead and dive right into it with number 1. Now, starting off with something pretty simple are the Milwaukee Vice Grips. Now, these range for about $25. Pick these up at Home Depot, and I absolutely love these things. They're super simple. What I really like besides just the quality is that you can turn the knob with like a screwdriver to get even more clamping force on what you're biting onto. These are really useful whenever you really need to just clamp onto something really tight to twist it or bend it or whatnot. You can twist it to where you need it and clamp onto it. All you do is for the release is just pull it back. This does come with a large. It does come with one that's pretty big, and it comes with one that's a little bit smaller. They're definitely both really useful, and I've used these a lot. And they've definitely really saved me in a lot of situations working on cars. I've worked with a couple different Vice Grips, and I would say especially for the money, you get 2, and for 25 bucks, you can't really beat it. I've used some really cheap ones, and they're just really frustrating and kind of a piece of junk. And these really bite down aggressively, and that's what you want. Now, moving on to number 2 are the universal flex joints. These are extremely useful whenever you're trying to maneuver your ratchet and your extension in tight little places and you can't get quite a square bite on the nut or the bolt. That's what these little guys come in. This is a 1/2 inch one. They come in sets of 1/2 inch, 3/8, and 1/4. This is a Cobalt set. I picked this up at Lowe's. I think they're about $20 or $30. There will be links in the description of everything that I list here. The 3/8 is definitely the most useful with your ratchet. Trying to take something off, you can't quite get to it. Bends it just a little bit where you can get to it perfectly. These will save you a lot. I've had these come in clutch for me many times doing a lot of installs. And I believe the black one was from Harbor Freight, and I know Harbor Freight's kind of more on the budget end of stuff, which I have a lot of Harbor Freight stuff, and I totally recommend them. I'll drop a link for the Harbor Freight ones and the Cobalt ones down in the description if you want to check them out. Now, moving on to something a little bit more significant, the Milwaukee 3/8 little 90-degree impact electric ratchet is what they call it, something along those lines. I picked this one up on eBay for about $150, and it's worth every penny to me for that. This is the lower torque one. They do have one that's a little bit higher, but just to be super easy and maneuverable, the little electric ratchet, battery comes off, plop it on the charger. There's even a little indicator on the side that tells you how much battery you have left out of these little dots. And to flip it, you just twist this little knob left and right, and it'll change which way it's going. I never really realized how much time it saved me until I actually had one of these. And the quicker you can get projects done and things replaced, the easier it becomes and the more likely you'll want to do it again and less frustration. And the goal here for working on cars is keep the frustration to a minimum, and that way you'll be more prone to going back out, getting some more stuff done, and have a good time doing it. I've had this one for about a year now. However, about 6 or 8 months ago, I got something a little bit better. It's the big boy. Now, this is the 1/2 inch Milwaukee Impact, full-fledged Impact. I think it's rated for like 660 foot-pounds of torque. It's about 250 bucks off eBay. Comes with a battery, comes with a charger. Battery lasts forever. Can't complain. Indicator for the battery, and you can set the power level 1, 2, and 3. Absolutely love this thing. I didn't realize I needed this thing until I had it, and I was like, what in the world was I doing all this time without this bad boy? Now, you don't really need this if you're just starting out working on cars, you know, maybe once a month, every couple of weeks or whatever, replacing upgrades. You don't need this. But if you're into drifting or you get kind of saucy with it every weekend, you would benefit from this. It's such a lifesaver getting off wheels and tires or stuff that's really just torqued on there and you don't really have room to maneuver like a ratchet or whatnot or a breaker bar. This is what comes in handy because it sits there and just knocks at it left and right till it comes loose. Like I said, this is the medium range torque. They do have one that's a step higher and it's like $600. This was $250 plus battery charger. eBay has some really good deals on these things. That is where I went to buy this, and I absolutely love it. Now, rolling up to number 4 is a good set of hand pliers, is what I'll call them. I recently went out and bought a new set of these because I used the old ones so much they were just eventually kind of falling apart. And I like to get a fresh set every once in a while. These are the DeWalt needle nose and the DeWalt, I call these flat nose pliers or whatever you want to call them. The ones that are not needle nose, they're just flat. And the wire snippers, diagonal cutter looking things. These 3 hand pliers I use all the time. Anytime I'm doing something on a car, I have a hose clamp I need to get off, or something I need to cut, or bend back, or crimp on. These are the pliers that I go to. What's super nice about them is that they have these really good grips and they're long. And that gives you so much more leverage than if you just have a basic set of pliers. And that's great. And also in the back, you can also cut things as well with the flat nose and the needle nose. They do have the little cutters in the back like about every plier. I will say one thing about it, the lock doesn't really work the best in the world. It can definitely be better. These things will cut through about anything. These little wire cutters, with all that leverage behind it, you can cut through, I've cut through like cables and stuff with this thing. It's a really little setup and it's really effective. Last but not least, you might be thinking, what in the world would there be left to put on the top 5 favorite tools? You might not see this coming, but I love this tool so much. It is a dead blow hammer. This is my second one I've bought. I destroyed the first one, and a buddy of mine recommended me getting one of these. I think it was about a year ago from now. I go to this thing all the time. I used to use rubber mallet. This thing tops that in most situations. Main thing I use this for is to bust stuff loose whenever I can't get the impact in there and I need just a little bit more force to break the nut or bolt loose, and also just to hit anything really. If you're not familiar with the dead blow, pretty much what it is a hammer with a hollow metal head, I guess, with like heavy weighted sand in it. So I don't know if you can hear that in my mic, but it does have a little weighted sand. So whenever you hit something, the sand delays for a second, it hits it, and will not bounce back and like knock you in the face or whatnot. So it's a lot more controllable, and it still delivers a good punch. This can kind of be a substitute for a impact in a sense, for whenever you're trying to break things loose in a tight space and you can't get to it. You just put like your wrench on there and you give it a couple little taps on the end, and that will deliver. It's kind of like a little knocking force of an impact. That should break it loose. I've done that so many times and I absolutely love this thing. A little bonus tool that I have is this Harbor Freight Braun under the hood light. I love this thing. It's great. I broke my first one. They warrantied it out, and I think I broke this one now, but I use this thing all the time. Simple little light setup. All it is has low power, high power, and off. It's super nice, it's rechargeable, and these little end caps come out where there's a little bungee cord on there and a hook, or you can hook it on the underside of your hood when you're working on things at night. Even though the shop does have lights, it still gets dark in here in certain spots. We plop this thing underneath the car, turn it on, and we have really good lighting. Also, these little guys are great. Now, if you have a Harbor Freight in your town and you haven't gone, you need to go. Every time you go, pretty much, they'll give you one of these lights for free. About every weekend they have sales and coupons, and you just pick these up, you scan a coupon, and it's free. All it is a simple little light, and these are great because I have probably about a dozen of them now just laying around the shop. And if they break and you don't have batteries, you chuck them away because you get a new one every time you go. You only have to buy something. It's not like a $20 item. You can go in there and buy $2 worth of something, get a free light, super nice. I recently actually picked up some batteries, and I can start keeping these alive a lot longer, which these are really nice so everybody can have one who's working on the car and kind of see things that they need to see all at the same time. And that's something that the big light, the overhead light, will not get to, is your little spot down underneath the engine bay and whatnot that you need to be able to see. Alright everybody, that is going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments what tool you like the most out of my top 5. Also, if you want to see another video kind of like this, let me know in the comments. I would love to do more tool reviews and product reviews. I've really gotten to know a lot of these products and tools, and I like to share my opinion with you guys and kind of help you out and kind of tell you what I think. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next one.